Hi everyone, we're on week 4 of our visiting farms and finding out about some of the animals that live there. This week we're going to talk about goats, and the story we're going to be reading in a little while is called A Kid of Their Own. And it's a really cute little story, and in the story we actually come across things that are these things. And I know a lot of people don't know what these are because they're not used very often. They're ear muffs. And it used to be that if you didn't want to wear a hat in the winter, you could wear ear muffs and it would keep your ears warm. They kind of look a lot like earphones, headphones that help you hear music. So let's find out later why these are important in our story. But right now, let's make a goat. And you see, I have 2 goats here, one big goat and one little goat. And so in our bag, we'll find a paper towel roll. We'll find 2 pieces of brown construction paper, but the one we want to use is the one that is thicker, a little bit bigger. And then if you remembered to keep the things like I asked you to, you'll have this piece of paper plate from our Rooster, and we'll have what's in here, it just doesn't want to come out, the template for our goat's ears, because that's what we're going to use here. And let's see, we have our baggie. In our baggie, there are some cotton balls left over and some clothespins. And I also have a little piece of white paper that I had left over. If you don't have any white paper left over, all you need to do is find a piece. It's about this big, so you'll be able to make the eyeballs. So at home, what you're going to need to have is glue. You could use either glue, white glue, or a glue stick. You'll need either a marker, or a black marker, or a black pen, or a black crayon. And you'll have to have a pair of scissors. And you'll also need to have something small to trace the eyeballs. And I'm going to use a dime. So I'm going to put that there for right now. And we're going to look at this part, which is the goat's head. And you'll see that my piece of brown paper is taller than my roll, because not all the rolls are the same size. Not all of them are the same width either. So you might have extra, and if you do, all you need to do is, you'll see here, you'll see how I have that much more than I need. So I'm going to just bend it so I see how much I need to cut off, and then I'm going to very carefully just crease a hole in there, and then very quickly cut this strip off. And then all I need to do to start my goat is to glue this to this. So if you're using white glue, you would just go like this, pour it on. You don't need a ton of it, but just enough. But you do need to wrap it around. But I'm going to go ahead and use my glue stick. And what you might want to do is, so it dries on it, it is round. While you're doing the other parts of it, take your clothespin and just go like this, right where the end comes, and let it just sit there for a few minutes and dry while you do the rest of your goat. So we're going to go ahead and do the ears. And so I'm going to go ahead and cut my template out. If by any chance you accidentally threw this part away, don't worry, it's not the end of the world. All you need to do is find some more construction paper, either brown or gray or black or white, and use that for the ears. But if you remembered and kept your extra paper plate, then all you need to do is trace 2 ears, because the goat has 2 ears, out of the leftover plate. And while I'm tracing things, I'm going to go ahead and make the eyes also. And because this paper is very thin, I'm only going to trace 1 circle, and then I'm going to fold this paper in half and cut the eyeballs out at the same time. So let's go ahead and do this little circle. So now I have my 2 eyeball circles, so let's go ahead and make the pupil part of the eyeballs. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on the plate that is not where I'm using, where I don't have the ears traced. So you just use a marker or a crayon. It doesn't have to be black. Your goat can have brown eyes or green eyes or yellow eyes or orange eyes or whatever color eyes you want your goat to have. Since I have black here, I'm going to go ahead and use that. And so now I have my 2 eyes done. I'm going to put them aside for a minute and cut out my ears. And so my scraps will just go into my little pile that goes into my recycling paper pile. So now I have the ears. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure they're going to stay together on the goat. Now this is important. You don't want to glue the whole thing. You just want to glue the very tip. And I'm going to use my glue stick so you can see, because it's purple, so it'll show up. If I used my white glue, you wouldn't be able to see what I had done. So I am only going to glue that little tip, and I'm going to meet it, and I have to make sure that it is open like this, because I'm going to be putting my clothespin through that part. So you have to make sure it's open like that. And then just do the other one. So you're just doing the very tip of the ear. And when you fold it over, oops, you might want to hold it shut for a minute or so it glues, it stays shut, it dries a little bit, because do you see that one popped open? So there's my ears, my eyes. I'm going to go ahead and start the hair. And so I have some cotton balls. Oops, I did it again. I'm going to unravel this a little bit, tear it open a little bit, fluff it up, because this is going to be my goat's hair, a tuft of hair. These don't want to stay shut today. Let's see if this is dry yet. Yes, it wants to stay shut. That's good. So to attach this, you're going to use your clothespin, and you're going to be putting it through here and on the side of the goat. And you see how I made the inner part of the ear? You can do that also. You don't have to, but you can do that also if you'd like. So now we have this much of the goat done. So we're going to go ahead and attach the eyes. So like I always say, glue the small part. Sometimes I think that this glue sticks better to my hands than it does to the paper. Now we have the eyes. And now I'm going to go ahead and put the hair on. And for this I am going to use my white glue. And I'm just going to put a little bit along the bottom, and it just goes, just stick it right in here and press it in. So there's his tuft of hair on the top of his head, and I'm going to go ahead and give him a little goatee also. But before I glue this one on, I am going to go ahead and put the rest of the face on our goat. And so you want to take your crayon or marker, and what you're going to be doing is, as you see my little goat, it looks like an upside down triangle for the nose. And so if I was really good, I could do that upside down for you, but I want it to look like a nose, so I'm not going to do that. So what you're going to be doing, something like this, and then coloring it in. And then at the point, come down and make the little smile. And so now I'm going to go ahead and glue his little beard on. And you see the really little one does not have it because he's just too young to have one yet. But this guy's getting a little older, so he's going to have a beard also. And so now I have my goats, and my goats, I have 3 different size goats. So we can have, you can also do a little story with them. And if you know the story, the Billy Goat's Gruff, it was a story about 3 goat brothers, the big goat, the middle-sized goat, and the baby goat. And they have a big adventure. So that could be another story you might want to read. But right now, I hope you come back and listen to this really cute story about a kid of their own, and find out what part ear muffs play in this story. See you soon. Welcome back, everyone. We just finished making that really cute goat. And so now we're going to read a really cute story about a goat. well, really two, a mother goat and her baby goat. And a baby goat is called a kid, just like little people are sometimes called kids. So this story is called A Kid of Their Own by Megan Dowd Lambert. And here's the kid, and here's his mom, and he lives on a farm also. We have the rooster, geese, chickens, sheep, horse, and our goats. Let's find out about this kid. Cockadoodle-doo! A new day was dawning at Sunrise Farm, and Clyde was in the thick of it. What a big help your crow is, praised Roberta. And Clyde goes, "Aw, shucks." And so the other animals are saying, "Good morning, Sunrise Farm. You raised the crowbar with that wake-up call, Clyde. An utterly glorious start to a day." And this is Sunrise Farm, and their eggs are grade A. And look, Clyde is the star of the whole farm, so he even has a star on his door. Well, Clyde basked in the glow of everyone's appreciation and settled in for a day of resting his voice and a little light reading. But suddenly, he was interrupted. "Meet Rowdy and Fran," Farmer Jay began. "We can't ever have enough cheese," exclaimed Farmer Kevin. "And now we can make even more. Because we can get cheese not only from cow milk, but from goat milk also." And so here are all the animals, and here's Rowdy, and he's going to meet them. And so this is the trail that he takes. And being a little kid, he's very busy, has a lot of energy, and he says, "Meh." And the sheep going, "Now, there's a wild and woolly one." And he goes, "Meh," and he's jumping around. "Meh." And they say, "I hope it's not too cheesy to say, I'm very glad that you're here." And the mother goat says, Fran says, "Not at all. I'm moved by your warm welcome." "Isn't it wonderful?" gushed Roberta. And here comes Rowdy. And he goes by the chickens. And the chickens, because they don't talk, they made a little heart in the dirt to show they love Rowdy. And he's going, "Meh, meh." And the horse goes, "Here's looking at you, kid." And as he watched the kid trip-trapping about, Clyde wasn't so sure. Roberta had always taken him under her wing, but now she, more than anyone else, seemed charmed by Rowdy horsing around the barnyard. With jealous resolve, Clyde hatched a plan to recapture her attention with an extra special crow at dawn. As the sun peeked over the hillside the next day, a determined Clyde assumed his position atop of the coop, opened his beak, and he has signs up that say, "Louder than ever, now with more noise, new and improved." And he has a tambourine to shake to make more noise, and he's using a megaphone. And he yells out, "Cockadoodle!" And the mother goat yells, "Don't!" Instead of cockadoodle do, it's cockadoodle don't. Don't what? Clyde sputtered. Oh dear, exclaimed Roberta. You woke up Rowdy, Clyde. Clyde's feathers were ruffled. His waddle wobbled. But I didn't even finish, he protested. I always end with the do. Well, maybe you should tone it down for the kids' sake, Roberta fretted. And with that, she went to help Fran, leaving a dismayed Clyde in her wake. And even though Clyde had a beak, his nose was out of joint. He did not tone it down. Instead, he crowed his crow not only at daybreak, but whenever Rowdy was resting in the barn. Cock-a-doodle-doo! Oh my, gasped Farmer Jay. Change is hard, said Farmer Kevin. What do you think this is they're painting? Let's keep an eye on it, because it's going to tell us about something at the end of the book. It's fair to say that Clyde was getting Fran's goat with what she came to call his maddening crow. I'm just doing my job, huffed a cocky Clyde when he saw everyone huddled around Rowdy. But his righteousness quickly faded when he heard the others' comments. The cow says, Clyde's really milking it for all it's worth. And the sheep goes, it's too bad. The kid needs his sleep. And the horse says, I'll say, Clyde will get hoarse if he keeps this up. And the chicken is writing in the dirt, and she says, lay off. I think everyone is a little upset with Clyde waking up Rowdy all the time. And over here, we have something that goes, baby, baby. And they also have a sign that's welcoming this kid. Well, this is a new book, so the pages don't turn very easily. Here we go. Clyde was bereaved. He brooded about the barnyard until Roberta, who was nothing if not a motherly goose, finally took him back under her wing. There, Clyde, she soothed. It's hard when the chickens come home to roost. A sheepish Clyde swallowed his pride like so much chicken feed. Would you help me talk to Fran? He asked. Absolutely, agreed Roberta. Excuse me, Fran and Rowdy, Clyde started. Yes, Fran answered gruffly, ashamed of his foul behavior. Clyde was at a loss for words. And look at the poor little kid, Rowdy. He's so tired, he has bags under his eyes. Oh no. And Roberta's giving Clyde some encouragement. She says, you can do it, Clyde. But then a sleepy shake of Rowdy's floppy-eared head spurred the rooster into action. Back at the coop, he rummaged through his special occasions costume box. Aha! Found something. Excuse me again. The earmuffs were an impulse purchase that Clyde had regretted. Until now. And the mother goat goes, "You've got to be kidding." And Clyde goes, "No, now they don't quite fit me," acknowledged Clyde. "But they're as good as new, and Rowdy can wear them to block out my morning crow." Fran ruminated on the idea. "I suppose we could give them a try," she conceded. Roberta goes, "Wonderful." And here's Rowdy, and he's got the earmuffs in his mouth. And you know the old story that goats eat anything? Well, his mom says, "No, they're not for eating, my sweet," corrected Fran. And the next morning, isn't that cute? The kid is wearing the earmuffs. And if you've ever worn earmuffs, it muffles or blocks out the sound and the cold. And here it comes. Cock-a-doodle-doo! But Rowdy's still sleeping. They worked. Yay! Everyone except Rowdy stretched and entered the barnyard. "Looks like my plan worked," called Clyde. "Yes," confirmed Fran. "He's fast asleep, thanks to those earmuffs of yours." "Now they're his, and I'm awfully sorry, Fran," Clyde apologized. "I was a perfect troll to you." "Water under the bridge," accepted Fran. "And I'm sorry too." And here we have back here. What do you think the farmers are doing? What is that little thing they have? And so here we are, and the animals are saying, "Way to smooth things over, friends. Here. There's a place at the stable for everyone. The more the merrier." And that's how Clyde joined everyone in welcoming Fran and Rowdy, just in time for the farmers to bring home a kid of their own. "Look who's here! It's Riley's adoption day. Riley, meet our animal friends." And Riley, who's just a little guy, instead of saying hello, he says, "Cock-a-doodle-doo." So, what do you think of those kids?